Once again, we are live on Caribbean Currency Podcast. It's Redman and Kyle for another round
Oh,
of
this is the first round of the currency exchange. This is the first one. I must say another round.
our try. So cool. I prepare our week to set up.
I must say another round. Anyway, what we doing again? I think this is the first time we doing this. I must say another round. But
Right.
yes. Share the live. We here. The boat Caribbean currency. I'm waiting to see it pop up here,
It don't pop up for
and
me.
it pop up for you on the stream.
Yeah,
Anything
like I
lagging, man?
live.
Anything
Like I
lagging,
live
man?
right now.
Share the thing. Okay, I see. They're both. All right, boom. Let me share this from my page. Um, Sonico Eros or Sonico respond or no?
Yeah, so Nico Harris.
Yeah, I could hear you.
Okay. Just making sure we're cooking on our cylinders. We are live.
We are live.
All right.
A
Sharing it
little
now
shaky
from my
take
page.
off, but spirit is in the air.
Exactly. Once she in the air,
Yeah,
Once we up in the air, we good to go. We flying high.
once we up in the air, we go to go.
Yeah, we flying high. Okay. Um, all right, we're gonna just wait a little while to get some people in the thing. Um,
Definitely.
share the thing, share the thing, share the
Share the
thing,
live.
share the
Share it, share it,
life.
share it.
They're both. Red man, what going on?
Everything safe, man. Slimming down, drinking a lot of water. I could finally see my neck again.
The man says slimming down. Slimming down. Which
Yeah,
girl lying to you, my boy?
yeah, just eating good, relaxing myself,
Yeah.
not stressing about
What you eat
anything.
today? Since you eating good, what you eat today?
I eat chicken, scallops, and I don't really want to do the scallops because it's starch. When you're
Uh
like
huh.
a foodie like me,
Uh
you
huh.
gotta know these things, you know what I mean?
Okay,
But
okay.
definitely had the broccoli, so I didn't need the scallops, but a little
Uh huh.
Arabian still, so I requested the scallops.
Okay. How much pounds you
Yeah.
down?
I
Oh,
mean,
that's still up for debate.
yeah. Like we in the whatever that be in the middle before you get the pounds, like that's what it is. Like
So couple
me,
ounces then. Couple ounces.
I done a couple, I done a couple ounces.
Couple ounces. Okay. Yeah. Better than nothing. I see down couple ounces.
Yeah, me reach a pound yet, but we on the way. I
Ah
lose an ounce
man.
out my neck, so I'm good.
Yeah. Share the life, guys. We here.
Yeah, share the life, man.
Moving. Caribbean currency. We ain't do this in a minute. We've been
Hmm.
busy having galas, having all type of thing going on. You know what I mean? We've been ripping and running, so we try and get back to the thing, get back to the core, get back to the center of this thing, and keep the fire blazing,
Definitely.
man. I mean, we had the VA Well Billing Gala about 2 3 weeks ago. Amazing vibes, amazing conversation, great ambience. People that show up, everybody show up. It was sold out show. The vibes were good, man. The vibes were really, really good, and I'm proud of my people for showing up about the finances, man. For real.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I'd be the one in Kyle here, like, hey, the man, you think you're gonna sell out? And Kyle would be like, yeah, they're going to sell out. They'd be like, you sure?
You sure?
Like, you sure? And then when you get it, it pack. And you're like,
In fact,
wow, these people really showed up for this information. Okay. Yeah, it was dope. This one, everyone I get better as we go along. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's really like an experience. This is the first time I get to touch the stage, and you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, so Kyle really like give me the permission slip. I was like, okay, this time we think you're ready.
yeah. I think you're ready. Let me see
Act
what you do three,
normal.
4 months before the show, and
Yeah.
then you will get on the stage.
Think no, talk normal, be normal, like a regular person, and you got this. I had a good time. It was great.
Yeah. The vibe was good, man. Was
Yeah, the
really
vibe
good,
was
man.
really good. The vibe
And
was
the
really
people
good.
show up, the people take it serious. That'll be my thing, man. Like, at first, it'll be hard to believe that if you listen to the naysayers, they're gonna say, no, nobody coming to that, nobody, no, you crazy, that's too much money, nobody get
Right,
that type of
right.
money, that type of thing. And I hear that a lot, guys. I hear that a lot. So it's like, if you keep hearing it, sometimes you could doubt yourself and be like, maybe I should change it. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. But then day of, well, not even there. You see the ticket sales coming in and stuff, and then, but then the problem is too, VIP
Mhm.
people are wait so late to buy the ticket. So for
Definitely.
months now, you're like, wow, okay, now this thing ain't sell out yet, and then the last week, sell out. You
Yeah, I
know?
think that I want to really see what going on.
Yeah,
You know
feel
what I
it out
mean?
first.
Before they really like,
Yeah,
you know, push
I ain't
themselves.
mad at them. I ain't
Yeah.
mad at them for that. I think
Yeah,
we
but
get a
it'll
good
show up
amount of
though.
people in. Yeah, 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 definitely. I watching. I think we get like a good amount of people. We could get a bar
Definitely.
rolling.
Get a
So
bar rolling.
so boom, currency exchange. This is where we come exchange currency. Whether it's me and Red exchanging currency, we exchange currency with the audience, and then we have a guest from time to time to exchange currency with. Just basically talking about the different topics in the community that's been, impacting the community and stuff, and just getting a more of an insight and deeper insight on it. So one of the things that something that happened recently was the BVI came up and they had a proposed increase on their fees for charters that were based out of the USVI. So pretty
Right.
much the boats that will leave from St. Thomas, St. John, and go into the BVI were customer paying like $400. I think it was like a year
The
to sail in the
charters.
water. Yeah, the charters
Right.
that were
Okay.
overnighting in the BVI, I think.
Right.
And our next guest gonna clear that up for us. Wherever I going wrong, he gonna come on and clear it up. Because again,
Hey,
we's novices in this field. We ain't
and just
too.
to be honest with you, when
Mhm.
that first come out, I such a homer, like a
I thought it was
USVI
something else, you
person.
know. I want it. My boy
I
come out
re
the closet.
yeah, I reacted. No, 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 not homering. Okay, let's get it
I thought a
correct.
home. I was like,
Let's get it correct
go
now.
ahead. I stand
Okay,
corrected. He's a homer.
I'm
Go
such
ahead.
a patriot. Okay, let's use that word. I'm such a patriot that I, let's say, overreacted. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, tax them mother skunk. You know what I'm saying? Even though my
Mhm.
entire family from Tatola, I such a patriot. I was like, yeah, my son. We not knowing I ain't no shit. I just gonna be
Yeah.
honest with how you.
Yeah.
I reacted emotionally.
Me too. I
Just
did too.
just being fair. You know what I
I
mean?
did
I
too.
don't act like I above the wall. I definitely reacted emotionally. Like who they think they
Who
is
the thing
two
they
hundred
is?
percent.
I think our water better than ours. Ah,
Yeah,
crazy. That's the
yeah,
energy I had because I didn't know no
right.
better. So no, I even made a video saying like, the man are sick. Like, why I think how I could go from $400 a year to $24,000 a year, and we ain't supposed to just be like, okay, cool.
Right.
But a Facebook friend of mine, a mutual friend, shout out to her. She sent me a voice message from our next guest
Right.
detailing their perspective. And after I was done listening, I was like, well, damn, okay. So then I
Right.
reached out to him for even further perspective. And after the man gave to me like without emotion, I was like, okay, yeah, I get where I'm coming from. We need to have this conversation so the rest of our
But
audience could get where they're coming from too. Go ahead, Red.
hey, when you tell me about it, when you first tell me about it, when I was
Mm-hmm.
reading the correspondence between you and him, and you are giving me up to speed, I was like, damn it, he had to be right.
Yeah, we had to come
We
down after emotional speed
Where the
and
hell
come
he
back
come
up.
from with his
Yeah, with all these
information?
facts. With all
Yeah,
these facts. How dare he?
yeah, man. How dare you come with all these facts?
So
You
I
right.
think the conversation is necessary, man, so that the rest of the USVI could hear it from a BVI standpoint, and we
Definitely.
could kind of meet someplace in the middle, and we could, you know what I mean, figure out what this thing going, how this thing is going forward, so we don't be emotional to situations, and we deal with it from more of a rational standpoint than emotions, right? So, without further ado, I am going to bring on our guest. Our guest is the former commissioner of tourism in the BVI. The man from he get BVI and USVI roots, and that's what make this him so impartial in this conversation. Cause the man live in Cruz a bunch of years, and he's a BVI man too. So, like I said, nonetheless, without further ado, let's bring on my boy, former commissioner of tourism for the BVI, Mr. Rodney Skelton. Let's clap it up for him, watch our claps. Yo, dad, what going on? How you doing?
Well, everything is good, man. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to just share
Hey,
my
definitely.
perspective. I speak the entire BVI, but I just my perspective on things.
Right.
All right, hear that
Let we
disclaimer.
before we start there, right? Let me just do a little shade. I don't know who the cell phone service, internet service company is down there, but the King of England need to sort you out because you're looking a little. I
A
wouldn't
little
have get the
fuzzy.
money now.
You could use
They
some
get
help.
one.
It's just the money don't go to the internet.
No, sir. Well, and we will touch that a little bit. We in a little while. We money is going to take.
Oh, okay. Jeez. Just food,
Yeah,
cause we ain't got no boats over here,
yeah, we on a boat.
Yeah.
They got the boat them
Any
over
poker
there.
runner had dominated.
Uh-huh. So Rodney, real quick, man, just give the people a little background about yourself. Tell the people where you're from, where you do, your background, your professional background, all that good stuff. And then we're gonna dive into the conversation.
All right. Well, I think a lot of people, I looking at some of the folks here, they should know me. Rodney Skelton, born and raised in St. Thomas. I went to Moravian School, born Lord Hansen Hospital. My fellow St. Thomians like to St. Thomian roots, but I like to let some of them ain't born Hansen. I born Lord Hansen. Live in St. Croix, did all of my schooling in St. Croix. My mom is over here. Yeah, and have deep Crucian roots. The Isanasins that live around the field, up that hill going up around the field. That's my entire family on my mother's side. And then, of course, I have the Tortola side, British side. So this summer, I would come over to Tortola and spend 3-4 months. So my friends back in St. Croix ain't seeing me for the whole summer. I over here ripping and running. Did everything. I've been in tourism for quite some time, probably have about 20, maybe 24, 25 years total in tourism. I ended my career, let me say it, let me change that. I didn't end it. I paused in my career as the former acting director. We over here is director of tourism. So I got as high as acting director. Been involved in lots of things across both islands, from running the music festival, basketball leagues, you name it. I've been involved. Festival over here. I'm always somebody. We have a principal over here named Elmo Stone, and so in my time, whenever people call me, I've been the president of softball over here. I'm always involved in something, but to the entire Virgin, I can tell them I am one of the real Virgin Islanders because I encompass St. Thomas, St. Croix. Spent a lot of time in St. John with my sister's side of the family, and then of course BVI is now home for me. So that's just to give a little background on who I am.
Dope. Okay, cool. All right, so the man is a real VI man, a real US VI, BVI. You even got to put no disclaimer in front of which BVI. He's a real VI man. That's it, right? Cool. So, all right, moving right along. We're gonna just jump into the conversation. So, like we were saying earlier before you jump on, we were just here minding our business one day, and then Government House put out a statement saying the governor of the USVI requested tariffs on the BVI because the BVI decided they want to raise their fees, 600 for 6,000%, some crazy number like that. And that sent the whole USVI in an uproar. Like, son, who these man think they is? They think their water better than ours, And all of this stuff we start carrying on with, right? But again, when me and you spoke, you gave a lot of insight as to why the BVI feels like a price increase is justified. So I just want you to talk a little bit about the marine industry in the BVI as far as what they represent compared to other places in the world, and what makes the BVI so special that they could request those type of fee increases.
Okay, I'm getting a little delay on my side, so
Yeah,
hear me.
it's an ours too. We can hear you.
Good.
It just delayed, but we hearing
What
you.
you
So
have
go
to
ahead.
realize when it comes to charting in any waters, you have a lot of novice captains. You have captains who they've been dabbling a little bit, maybe they get a first level STC captain's license. You want to be safe. Like if you go on vacation, you want to go to a safe destination. Similarly, people like to
Yeah.
sail where they have what we call line of sight sailing, which means I could see the island I'm going to, I can see my next stop. As you know, BVI has some 60 islands and keys with resorts on them. Some of them are just like the Willie T that has the floating party barge and things like that. So people can sail BVI even as a novice captain. You can sail without fear of when you anchor off your boat at night to go sleep. You ain't gonna end up in Puerto Rico. You ain't gonna end up in El Salvador someplace. There is always an island, another place within line of sight. So that's one of the more important things is safety in sailing. The other thing is you want to have different places to go to. I'm a crucian, inside and out. Every weekend, my cousin them, Rocky them and Gallows Bay, and all of them and their boats. Straight to
Buck Island.
Buck Island. Buck
Right.
Island. That's where all the crucian them they go. St. Thomas come over to visit, we carry you Buck Island. No, Buck Island is nice. But it's just that's your only stop.
Right.
You know, when you come to, and I like to refer to them as guests, not tourists. But a guest comes into the BVI, they can have breakfast on Cooper Island, take up a mooring over at Norman Island and snorkel the caves. Pop over to Jos Van Dyke and have lunch on Jos Van Dyke with a couple of drinks, and if they want to smoke a little tampi, they might be able to get a little tampi too. That one is for red man. I know. I know the Rasta man.
You know me, Rasta man.
That's a
Don't leave the
stereotype.
ice gold and green and the hat
No,
and the
that's
lax
a
school, yo.
Red man say he loses
But I do
weight
indulge.
and he eating starch and that kind of thing.
You heard
So,
the chicken, though. You heard the chicken. Right.
I give him a blind with the chicken. So, and then you know, you can then sail from Jos Van Dyke all the way across to Virgin Water and have a 5-star dinner experience at Kokomaya, at Little Dick's Bay. You go over to Oil Nut Bay and things like that. So in one day, a guest aboard any of our charters, they can have a multi-island experience, each of them vastly different. And in one day, they could be like, wow, you know, I had so many different experiences in that one day. We didn't even reach Anigaras yet. Where you go over to Anigara and it's the flamingos and it's the conch shell mounds and it's a lot of historical stuff that happens over there. So that's where it comes in. It's line of sight sailing and having multiple destinations within one destination. So that's what helps to make the BVI the quote-unquote sailing capital of the world. Now, there are other places that claim sailing capital of the world as well. But in our region, we have it more so than two other countries I like to reference. Bahamas and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Those are two countries that have multi-island Caribbean countries. The challenge with them is that their islands are so far apart. If you want to get to Abaco or one of those islands, you ain't even seen Abaco until your compasses tell you, well, okay, you're approaching XYZ, north, south, lateral. Similarly with St. Vincent, further apart, making it an open channel, rougher waters. So all of that helps. I'm saying that I might be losing a little connection. It's reconnecting, but all of that helps.
You good?
With
No,
the
we can hear you still. Keep going.
okay, good. That helps with the sailing product as opposed to the U.S. Virgin Islands. So when you go to the U.S. Virgin Islands, where can a charter pick up and go? How many other places can they go? You might be able to visit. I don't know if any island went over QE4 to St. Croix. You know, they got
No.
boat with the
What is the
pallet, the coffin.
hydrofoil?
They got boat that says to St. Now I know I know what it is. But that one is mass. And when you get off of St. Thomas heading to St. Croix in that open water, your belly better be good. You better get good for that type of sailing. So those of us who live, we still have our locals who vomiting on the boat and St. Thomas to St. Croix. So can you imagine somebody who's coming from away and they have to jump on a charter yacht that's going even slower? It can make it a little bit more of a difficult experience. So that's just as it relates to sailing. Yes, there are some options. Like I said, there's Water Island. I know there's the floating bar on St. John. Obviously, it's easy to sail between St. John and St. Thomas, but the options are just that much more in the BVI. It doesn't. Yeah.
Right. It's mostly beach.
So that's
more than island hopping. In Tatola, you got island hop.
Yes.
And not just have
and get a whole different experience at every destination as opposed to just you pull up at another beach.
Right.
Gotcha.
I'm tripping. I was sweating and had to turn off the fan so I go ahead and tell people, you got me on the fire and the pressure already.
Not we, the BVI. Blame the BVI. It cool in rack. It cool in St. Croix.
You talk about that one too.
Come back home.
Yeah, man. So that's the perspective. When it comes to fees, if you want me to just jump in, I will grant. And I know the premier over here, and
okay. Before you go to the fees, let me ask this question. If I sailing from St. Thomas, like if I come to St. Thomas and I want to have a full sailing experience and the BVI is included in this full sailing experience, when I go into BVI waters, what happens? Do I need a passport? Do I have to check in a custom in St. John? Or do I just sail in an island hop and sail back? Like how before you tell me about fees, how does that process work?
Okay, well, it's definitely you're going to need your passport. This is a totally different country. Well, I still see. I don't know. My screen probably a little slow. No, I still see red man talking, but I do. Okay, so it's a different country, so you're gonna need to have your passport. One of the challenges we also need to let people know is the need to have your passport. You can get into the BVI. The US requires it when you go back. You know, you can get in. You call in ahead with your ball paper and an ID. You can get into the BVI with those documents, but you're going to need your passport, US citizen or not. They require it to go back into the US VI after coming out of a foreign country. As close as we are in relation, bloodlines, Redman, I don't know all your family. Kyle, you mentioned that you're a friend. All of us one link with Skeleton and all of that. As close as we are in the blood ties that we have to acknowledge that these are two different countries governed by two different colonial powers.
Okay. So now you could get into the tariffs and why my cars are pausing from our perspective, and then from your perspective as a BVI, a person from the BVI, how it affects you and how it affects us and why we have to pay and why, you know what I mean? You could get into all of that.
Okay. So fees that were raised, we need to go back and realize that the $400 annual. I don't think any country
signal
keeps laws on the books unchanged in your most important economic pillar and have your laws unchanged for 30 years. Losing signal? We
Okay,
good
we
again?
hearing you now. Yeah, we good again. Go ahead.
So I was saying, after not changing the fees for 30 years, $400 an absolute joke. Some of these charters, when you pick up a 5-day charter, a 7-day charter, even a 10-day charter, some of these charters, they are paying in the tune of 24, the same $24. Some of them is 30, 40, depending on the time going on. For a week, you can expect to pay, you're going to be up there paying $16,000, $20,000 for these charters. We have what we call bare boats, boats that don't come with crew, don't come with captain. You can, of course, get a captain, all of that. They do in season about 18 to 24 to 25, maybe even more charters every season. So if you take 20,000, let's call it an even figure, 20,000 per charter, and you're doing 20 charters in a season with one boat. Bear in mind the moorings have close to 300 boats. One boat, me and the three of us get together and we invest in a charter boat. We out there for 20 charters for the season. That's $400,000 in revenue coming in for one boat. Needless to say, I think you guys will see and your audience will make sense. The companies have been getting away with murder, and the BVI was unable to collect its due share of the market, being able to contribute and helping us to take care of the waters and take care of the environment so that people can come and enjoy the BVI as they intended it to. So I do think that our side, the BVI side, could have done a better job of how to get those fees out to the public. How did we educate the public? This should not have been an alarming situation. We could have done two things. We could have put the fees in a tiered system. Companies with over 100 boats, this is your fee per boat. Bare boat, Kyle and Redman have a charter, you only have one boat, here is your fee for your one boat because you have less than 10 boats in your fleet. The day trippers, all boys who gotta go fast, then the mid-presses with 3 and 4 and 5 engines on it. Okay, you guys are the charter industry as well. You do day trips to the BVI. Here are your fees. And so the fees could have been in a tiered system. Additionally, it could have been in a phased system so that we know, okay, over the next year, the fee is going to increase to this amount. In the next year after that, in 2026, be prepared, the fees change again, and we will cap it out by 2027, we reach to where we want to get to. So I think the optics of how this looked, how it felt, would have been better if we did a couple of those things.
Yeah, because I was like 200%.
6,000
people. 6,000.
More than that. More than that. My master more than that.
Yeah, that was wild to me. That was my problem. My issue with it was, they nothing in life. As a businessman, nothing in life you could justify overnight going from paying $400 to $24,000. I can't sell a $400 car today and turn around tomorrow and try to sell that same car for 24 grand. Like, there's going to be backlash. There's going to be outcry. There's going to be justification needed. So, like you said, a tier system would have been better, and a phased fee collection. Like, okay, over the next amount of years, you know what I mean? This is what it is we're going to. And then they didn't even have to announce it in all those tiers. They could have just do 1 year at a time. Go ahead, Rodney.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they're getting met with the governor in the USVI. I think they had some good conversations. Both of them are young guys, practical guys. I think they've had the conversations and they are going to dial it back a little bit. Man, listen, all relationship between the USVI and the BVI, it's a complementary relationship, especially in tourism. We can't, man, I remember during COVID, and I saw those pictures of the airport in St. Thomas with the plane them line off, 15, 20 planes
Yeah.
line up, taking a landing. BVI's airport not big enough to accommodate some of these larger flights. So we rely on our inlet. So it's called a spoke and wheel system. And we rely on Puerto Rico. We rely on St. Martin for our French, Dutch, German guests. We rely on St. Thomas to bring in our US guests that are coming to the BVI. It's a complementary relationship, in my opinion. You know, when I used to go out and market the BVI, my BVI landlords want them guests coming directly to BVI. They don't even want them stopping in St. Thomas. You know, I think we needed to do a better job of Smith's Ferry. Question in the chat: why the quick and slow increase rather than okay? You see St. Thomas Amacharger. Roton Fast Ferry bringing some new boats. If you go back to the old days, and we be honest with ourselves, some of them boats were bad, man. The smoke, the exhaust coming in from the back into the main cabin where you got your guests and stuff. So the experience back then was not necessarily the best. It has improved to some degree. I think our port facility in Tortola needs to upgrade, and I think the Wilmot Blend facility needs to upgrade and modernize a little bit. I know your port authority is doing a lot of great work and stuff like that, but it's time to make that experience a much more pleasant experience. Somebody fly from Kansas, come in on an 8-hour flight, a couple of stops to get to St. Thomas. They're going over to the BVI to start their charter vacation. Man, they shouldn't be at an old port facility. Again, when the boat pull up, the fumes and the exhaust killing you while you sitting down waiting on the same ferry. But I used to tell folks, I don't see anything wrong in the guests them coming through St. Thomas. Because on the way, when they jump on a ferry, they won't pass St. John. The captain can point out, over on our right here is St. John. This is known for its beaches and national parks. And then when you come across over on your left, you see Joseph Van Dyke, and they've already started their vacation. You know, so I read it. Some of my guests want to know how I find you too. These comments from the people. I read these comments.
Chanel, cool out, Chanel. But I ask you nothing. How we find you? How you find us?
You see my girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Chanel want to know how I get to hook up with these guys.
I tell you. Hey, but so you had touched on it a little bit, right? I got a question in regards to COVID. So a lot of the pushback that we had get was some of the pushback that we get from the USVI folks after the proposed fees from the BVI was that COVID time when BVI was shut down, USVI was still open and our waters were open and we were still operational. So a lot of people were like, oh, we don't need the BVI, we could do it right here without the BVI input, right? Because in their mind, we did it during COVID and that showed the world that we didn't, quote unquote, need the BVI. What would your response to that be?
I touched on, I think, most of that already. Lord, yeah, not grown, sweating here. The BVI, amongst all Caribbean destinations, we're all tourism based. Most of us are tourism based. Of all Caribbean destinations, the BVI has the highest number of guests of any destination. You go and you talk to the Caribbean Tourism Organization, hand on BVI, we have the most repeat. You have parents who used to come with their parents. Those grandparents have their kids. Their kids now have grandparents, and they are full family multi-gen vacations in the BVI. When they come and they go over to say, know Foxy personally. Foxy know their children, their bartenders and waitresses. They'll go in the back, bless his soul, Selly. Selly is a bar when you go, you got to pay. You go in and you mark your bill down on a wall someplace, and before you leave 2-3 days later, you pay your bill. You know, so there's some familial relationships with the guests that come to the BVI. I can't pinpoint exactly why that is. We gonna say we're friendly, we gonna say we're non-violent, or not as much crap. That's a wrong thing because we see what happened to my boy Pressure. But we're not, we don't have as much crime. And so it could be a multiple things. So when you start to talk about, we knew what happened. The BVI knew what was going on. We knew when the Moorings and Sunsail went and set up office in Thomas. They got to continue, you know. They saw that the USVI market was still open during COVID. They still got, it made sense for them to go and set up shop over there and try to make a little business and develop some new routes, like Redman said, mostly beach stops, but give the guests an alternative while the rest of the world was shut down. We were jealous. I ain't gonna lie to you. We were saying, no, my head, Jesus Christ, what will happen now, buddy? St. Thomas now get a little taste of the pie. Get in the water. Yeah. You know, you have to be prepared, be a little nervous about things like that. But as we've seen, 3 seasons since then, and the market has, of course, come back to the BVI. It's good to know that the guests also have an option of starting their charters in St. Thomas more so than before. And so now they have another option. And it creates something new. You've been coming to the BVI for 30 years, jumping on the ferry, starting your charter in Tortola. Now you have a different experience. You still get to enjoy the BVI, but now you're starting your charter in St. Thomas. So it gives another experience for the guests. At the end of the day, this is my personal opinion, and I know some people gonna kill me for it, and they lie. St. Thomas is benefiting, St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, benefiting from the people who want to come to Tortola, making money hand over fist. The day that the BVI opens up its international airport, which is successive governments have been talking about it, the day they open the airport over here, St. Martin will feel it, Puerto Rico will feel it, St. Thomas will feel it. Because now guests can fly directly from wherever. And they will have be able to have direct flights to the BVI. We don't want that. I mean, not that we have to be self-sufficient. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that's evolution. That's growth. That's just, you have to be, and more than tourism. When all people them get sick, we got to be able to fly them out, as opposed to putting them on a ferry to St. Thomas to then try to catch a flight from St. Thomas to Jackson Memorial Hospital. You know what I'm saying? We have to be able to look at things like that, to look at importation to the BVI. Right now, St. Thomas or Puerto Rico. You know. So let me say this. Somebody say, well, I need to use BVI chartering more than any USVI chartering. I could say that without apology. And for some of the things that I said before, go ahead, Redman.
So let me touch on a couple of things about experiences, and I have to. You can hear me? You can hear me?
No, go ahead, Red. You just delayed. Keep going.
Okay, so I just want to touch on a couple of things as far as experience and that you pointed out. One, I think when you compare St. Thomas and Tortola as far as experiences from travelers, St. Thomas going to have that fast, heavy, bustling, city-like feel, which is most likely similar to from where they came from, even though it's slower. But I think in the BVI, it's more easygoing and slower. It doesn't seem to be that much of a rush. You can slow down, you can get to know people. And I feel like that's one of the qualities that makes people want to come back, is that it's a very stark contrast from the States. You feel me? So people from the United States who want to experience the island life, you will naturally experience an island life at its core in the British Virgin Islands than you will in the US Virgin Islands. With that being said, I want to know how you guys, and you may not know this personally, but since you've been in the position before, how did they come up with this 6,000% or the 2,000%? Like, what was there? Did they come up with that based on their needs and what they need to happen for them to sustain the industry, clean the waters, make sure that the island is pristine? Because those are taxes in a sense, right? Which everybody should pay
Yes.
taxes. How did they come up with that number to get there? Were they watching our pockets, or were they actually thinking about what it is they needed to do for themselves?
My brother, my good brother. I'm not in government anymore for different reasons. I
Right,
really can't answer that one. I can't say how they came up with it.
right.
But I will tell you, if you look at other
Okay.
countries, even the Hawaiian Islands, the Greek islands, the fees are less than the nations. How they come up with the 24,000 is if Rodney Skelton was sitting as director still, and we were, she laughing at me, my good brother, if I was still in that position sitting and I was in that meeting with my premier and the Ministry of Tourism, I would have been very, very vocal about being careful of how we come up, because it should have been easy for anybody with half a brain to see it's going to cause an uproar. The USVI neighbors, but also the charter companies. And we heard a little kickback from certain charter companies. What the hell going on here? When the charter companies took a step back, they looked at comparative to other destinations, they were able to say, well, even at 24,000 is still less than other places. I don't know how to come up with that number, my brother, but if Rodney was sitting there, they might have fired me, because I would not be aboard, not like that, not without a phase, not without a tiered system.
Yeah. So it sounds like you don't have an issue with the fees, it's just the rollout that was the problem. The way they roll it out, the way they introduced it.
Optics is everything, my brother. The old people used to tell us all the time, even what you say is how you say it. And you could even add to it is when you say it. You know what I'm saying? So, I think, yeah. And I don't think they would have been targeting the USVI. We also have to be mindful. It came across these were specific to USVI charters. No, USVI is the closest neighbor. But these fees also apply to boats coming out of Puerto Rico, boats coming out of St. Martin. We do have charters that come from these other places as well. So again, with the optics and the public relations, they had it They had it as though this was something targeting the U.S. Virgin Islands, and that would be inaccurate.
I think, like I say, the messaging wasn't there. They could have do a better job as to pointing out what the issues were, and coming up with a solution, as opposed to just, hey, by the way, why customer paying? I ain't paying no more. This is why I won't pay. So now when we have these conversations, that's why I say after one conversation with you, I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. But again, the consensus is like you can't go from $400 to $24,000 in a day. What's going on?
Hold on.
So let me ask this.
Wait, I got a charge against you. I got
Talk to me.
wait, man, I got a charge against you, Redman. We went over to St. Thomas after COVID. You know where the first stop BVI landers to go? Either the first stop or the last stop. You know how we go? Kentucky Fried Chicken, and we watched them bucket price went up from $30 to $50 in the space of we have to absorb them.
But it went up. It went up for us too. It went up for us too.
In fact, right? We feeling that too. That wasn't just for Tola people. That's what all we.
So you know what? Let me ask this, right? Because
All
through
right,
the
all right.
through the shared lineage and the shared history, because I like to argue this with BVI Islanders all the time. We are one Virgin Islands. We're only split in two because we're controlled by two colonial powers. So one in the first and one in the second. Okay, how do we communicate with each other, notwithstanding the colonial powers, so that we could have a shared tourism industry instead of having it being a BVI versus a USVI? Like, to me, there should be something in place. There should be a special card for British Virgin Island citizens and US Virgin Island citizens. And when I say citizens, I mean people who actually live there, so that they could traverse more easily between the waters and do tourism. So like, if this captain have a card, it shouldn't be that difficult for him to include Tatola, Virgin Gada, and not to say that he shouldn't pay the taxes. You should, but I feel like the BVI have to put those taxes up there in order to defend their economy. And I would say to St. Thomas, if the BVI doing
Good.
that and they're selling in the Virgin Islands, we like to protect everything, right? You see that little key over there? Throw some bars up over there, throw some beachfront up over there, and then somebody will come in. What about the seashells? If the seashells die, I don't like that, because here it is. The British Virgin Islands have
And they
five
figure it out.
places they could stop. We have five places too, They're just protected by like a national park, or some people who hug trees. And so instead of arguing with them about how high they put their prices up, we should be saying, how do we develop these keys and different islands surrounding us? Because it's either we work with them or we start to build up our industry more. A person have 5-6 stops to go to St. John, some keys in between, and the British Virgin Islands. And then, not to be long-winded, when Tatola expand the airport, we are going to feel it. We are going to feel it. That's not Tatola fault when they do that. Tatola have to defend their interests for their people. But how do we intertwine the two economies as far as tourism goes, so we're not in these difficult places?
So I want to touch on two things. One, I want to point out, and I want to make sure that all the viewers and everybody who tuned in is clear. The US Virgin Islands, as I shared with Kyle, is a $4.5 billion economy. The British Virgin Islands is 1.2 billion. You are four times, your economy in the USVI is 4 times as large as that of the BVI. Additionally,
Okay.
Before Donald Trump, I'm not sure what Donald Trump doing right now, but you have all of this federal aid and federal programs coming out of the hurricanes. The only thing that saved BVI is most of us have insurance on our properties. A lot of people didn't. You go to the bank to borrow money to build a house. The bank mandates that you have insurance on your property. I could tell you from my USVI lineage, a lot of people out of pocket. One fill the bucket and they buy a pallet of block today, a pallet of block a month later, and they end up building their houses out of pocket. Then there is no requirement for you to have insurance. Natural disaster comes in, destroys your home, you have no way to build it back because you expended all of your resources. BVI were lucky enough that we had insurance. If these people over here did not have insurance, BVI would still be looking like a mess. We don't get nothing from the UK. I need to make that clear to everybody else there. We don't get no federal funds. When the UK came to the BVI, they came with one of the warships with a bunch of body bags. They expected all of us to be dead over here in BVI. So we don't get anything from that. So we need to understand as well why the BVI needs to protect its industries, its economy, why we need to get a little bit more money, squeeze a little bit more juice out of the mega yacht, the charter yacht industry. We guys squeeze a little more out of that grape. because this is the only way we sustain ourselves.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to touch on, and an idea came to me, and we do it. You see this USVI, BVI friendship dating, you need to stop being a market. And I've sat on these meetings. I see my former director, Sharon Flax. I see her on the line as well. She has been in the meetings. I have been in the meetings when we have these, we sit down across the table, and my good brother Albert Brand sit down with all of his henchmen. And at the time when I was there, it was Andrew Foy. And he sit down across the board, and we crack little jokes, and then we go have a drink and something to eat. We talk about the same nonsense. You know, the North Drop is one of the best fishing grounds worldwide. The North Drop is in the BVI. US captains don't, they, in the past, I think that has changed a little bit. They would not tell their guests that they're fishing in BVI waters. They sell it fishing in USVI waters. But it's so far out, them boys, we don't have no coast. And we don't, so it's hard to really monitor out there. And back to the USVI about, oh, you know, you're fishing in the North Drop, this. The USVI side going to say, oh, you're making it hard for our captains to come across. Well, what are we really doing about it? Nothing. We having these USVI, BVI friendship days, and it, to me, is just a farce. It's just an opportunity for Ricky Rose saying they're still fishing in the waters. But we having these meetings and nothing concrete, productive. Now I understand we're handcuffed to some extent. Governor Bryan can't really do nothing without Congress and Donald Trump and Congresswoman approval. We really can't do much here unless the King of England, to some extent, we do have some leeway. But man, I really think before you come to that meeting in April or June or whenever it is, can we come up with some tangibles we want to get out of this meeting? So when we leave, when Albert leaves BVI or Sowande leaves St. Thomas, they actually sign some documents, some memorandums of understanding to make it easier between the BVI and the USVI? Or we can just sit down and have a rum punch, eat our stuff, and say we had USVI, BVI friendship day? It needs to be a little more meaningful, and that will tap into some of the things that you talk about, Redman. We got, now if I sneeze, we don't catch the cold. If we fart over here, I will smell it. So I just think that's a little off topic, but you know, there needs to be more than just doing it.
Definitely, and I don't find it to be off topic, and I feel like this is where we would want, when you say that, you know, I mean, the U.S. Virgin Islands is going to respond that it's federal, like Ricky Rose said. I think that's where I need to see a person like Stacey Plaskett having these conversations in Congress about opening up the relations between the two countries. And if the local government have the conversation, come up with a plan, present it to our congresswoman so she could go and argue or defend or make a case for us having a little bit more less strict relations because of the ties that we have with each other, and it could open up. To me, if you market the Virgin Islands and not US and BVI, but you market it as one, you can market it as individual as well too. I'm not saying to take away the individual marketing, but if you're able to market it as one chain of islands where you could come on vacation and traverse easily, everybody wins.
And real quick, let me interject. Listening to ITAC, I listen to the conversation, and it's like we need to figure out how we can make it easier for BVI, USVI relations, I thinking, in my head saying, but where I see that before? How come it can't happen all across the board? I've seen it happen when they wanted it to happen. Because initially I say, well, that's going to be hard because you got to deal with the federal US government, then you got to deal with that whole and the British. But they do it for Carnival. They do it when they wanted the band them to come over and perform, and we wanted the BVI them to come to St. Thomas to stay longer so they could play, and they figure out a way to do it then. So it'll just frustrate me, dog, when I gotta listen to all the problems, and then when it comes time for the solutions, we pointing fingers at everybody else and saying, well, we can't do it because these man gotta do this, and these man gotta prove that, and these man got. But in the middle of the night, when we ready to hear some pan knock, we don't figure it out.
Let me talk about horse race. When they got horse race back in the day when horse race was big, that's another travesty that the entire Virgin Islands without horse race. But when horse race came about and expectation when they running, we made it easy for the horseman them to bring the horses to the USVI and vice versa. So it's easy for the horse them to go. It's almost easy for the foal them to go. Well, I can't do for fighting more. We got little things still going. We make it easy for the animals them to go, but in the humans, the filly crazy. And I want to get a little sympathy for you. And I want you to think about something. With the craziness that's happening with you guys realize that the BVI only have one currency? The British Virgin Islands. Why should they benefit from it? You know what happened? You know what happened to us over here? Life changing in an instant. Life changing. The BVI gone from a 1.2 billion to maybe God knows what our economy will become. So that's again no reason why we gotta kind of shore up what's happening here, because we don't, man, we out here in the middle of the ocean sailing with no paddle. We ain't really got no help nobody coming. So just think about again. And if you miss again, my former director, Sharon Flax, mentioned the Inter-Virgin Islands Federation Council, because we had that as a addendum to the USVI BVI friendship. There was a lot more discussion happening, but see here, I don't even know, she's saying that they haven't met in 3 years.
That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Well, my brother, listen, this conversation was long overdue. It was very, very necessary because it brought a lot of light on both sides. Now, us on the USVA side, we can understand why we need to, not that we should, but we need to pay a little bit more to help the BVI protect their waters and what's theirs, especially since they don't get the federal backing like the USVI gets. So we've been a family for years, so it ain't like we ain't gonna disregard what you need. But now we understand. And then now I think the BVI understand that the USVI didn't have a problem with paying a little bit more. It's just how I roll that thing out and drive us a clout in the middle of the night saying, this is the new price. You know? Yesterday's price ain't today's price. You know what I mean? So that's the only issues we had. And I think, you know, we've been seeing eye to eye for years. We might have our little disagreements here and there, but for the whole part, you ain't gonna diss the BVI from as an outsider standpoint, and the USVI laugh and say, yeah, it's good for them. No, we're gonna defend, and I think it's vice versa, and you say it as well. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man. And conversations like this, man, big shout out to you guys. I've seen, you know, where the pro is going, and I think, you know, you guys can be one of those bridges that help us bridge the gap between two territories. We have a lot to benefit from each other, man. A lot to benefit from each other.
Definitely.
I think communication is important. Like you say what you say, and when you decide to say, you know, to clarify some of the stuff, you know, this wasn't targeting the U.S. Virgin Islands. This was more protecting the industry that we have over here. It affects seeing kids, anybody coming with a charter from anywhere in the world. It is not about the USVI. Could our government have done a better job of communicating the phases, the tier system? We already agree to that. But again, the relationship is symbiotic between U.S. Virgin Islands and British Virgin Islands. So it don't make no sense we sit down here fighting each other. It has to be complementary, and we help each other to grow.
Facts. Before we get you out of
Thank
here,
you for the opportunity.
before I let you go, one more thing before you bust up. Hold on. This segment called currency exchange, right? And this is where we exchange currency. What we were doing just now is exchanging currency. So we know currency to be money, but in real life, currency could be love, currency could be time, currency could be knowledge. I just want you to give the audience in closing, what's your most valuable form of currency?
Lardy, and I know some people on the line will say Lardy is true. Known for being a little brutally honest. And I think honesty, you let people know where you stand. They not like what you say.
Yes.
They might not agree with you, but the person will respect you ultimately because you stand on your conviction and you put the truth. Now, I used to lie with them. I was a very good liar.
Yeah.
Children mother, with my children mother one hand listening to the boy, she couldn't deal with it. The amount of lies I used to. But I found some value in honesty as I've gotten older in life. And some people say, Rodney, you're a little too brutally honest. But that is my currency. I trade on my honesty and forthright. And either you could deal with Rodney Skelton or you can't deal with Rodney Skelton.
Oh, you can.
So that's the currency that I trade on.
Boom, boom. And Redman, that's the first
Yes, sir.
one. That's the first one that we ever
Yeah,
get. You know,
yeah, that's the
usually we
first
don't hear
person to ever say honesty.
repeated. Yeah, we don't get repeat stuff. Some people say knowledge, some people say time. That this is the first answer that's actual honesty as their form of currency. So that's big ups to you, brother. We're gonna remember this conversation and again, thank you so much for your time, man. Like we extended the invite, you reciprocated it. You say, yeah, I'm gonna be there. Boom, boom, boom. This was a real impactful conversation, and I'm gonna let Red close it out, and we're gonna get up out of here.
Yeah, well, I just really want to thank you for coming and sharing the knowledge with us and educating us who are on the other side of the water, so that we don't have this emotional response to you. One of the key things that really stood out to me is that there's a 4.2 billion economy and there's a 1.2 billion economy. And I know I just really want to talk about how we the budget our money, because if you get 1.2 billion and you doing a good job budgeting your money and you look like you thriving over there, what the hell we doing with our 4.2 billion that we balling over here? And when you decide to raise something 2,000%, 6,000%, we feel like you're going to hit us so hard. You understand what I'm saying? And how it's so much that you put into my brain, and I want to thank you for that and using your time to educate us. Education is key.
Facts, 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 facts.
Still talking? Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, we
Got
still
a little
about.
delay with me.
I got delay,
Yeah. My mother just jump on there. That's the crucial there. Miss Janice Sanderson, big shout out to my
Hey, mommy, mommy
Hey,
Reach.
mommy.
Shout out, mommy. She there,
Thank you, my
yeah.
brothers. Anytime, any other topic. I mean, I love this exchange. And like you said, education is key. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And on that note, guys, we usually don't jump off, but we're going to just end it right there. We keep our eye for an hour. This was the currency exchange each and every Monday night at 7 p.m. I need you to like the page. Like it right now, Caribbean Currency. Like it, so therefore the next time we go live, I could get notified that we live. And on that note, guys, Caribbean Currency out. Like, share, and subscribe. We're going to see you next week. Peace.
Peace.